cockpits of Formula One cars throughout history, this season sees a significant change. Here's the lowdown on the halo. It's not just health and safety catching up with Formula One. To many, it's a fundamental change to the DNA of open cockpit racing cars. First of all, what is it? Well, the halo is a head protection device. It's made of titanium tubing wrapped in carbon fibre, and it protects the driver's head in the event of a big accident or from flying debris like wheels or bodywork. The sports governing body, the FIA, analysed 17 case studies of accidents involving head injuries and found that in 15 of them, the halo would have helped. In the other two, one of which was Jules Bianchi's ultimately fatal accident in Suzuka, it might not have saved lives, but it wouldn't have made things worse. At the same time, it is thought the halo would have been of benefit in the accident that killed Henry Surtees, which involved an impact with a loose wheel. How strong is it? Well, the answer is very, and it needs to be. This part of the halo needs to be able to take 15 tons in the crash test. That's the weight of a double-decker bus right on top of the halo at this point. That means in order to pass the crash tests, the teams have had to reinforce this part of the chassis and these parts either side of the driver's head. And as for how it affects the aerodynamics, the answer is quite a lot. As you can see, you can imagine the air moving up the car like this and then suddenly hits this blockage. It compromises the air both into the airbox and working its way onto the rear wings. And so the teams have had to get round that by adding this little aerodynamic fairing around the top. This is Mercedes' version, but you will see others up and down the grid. The halo is now mandatory in F1, F2 and next year's Formula E. 3 separate companies make and supply them to the teams. And inevitably, the halo's implementation has led to a few knock-on effects. When you look into the garage, you'll notice a few compromises have had to be made. First of all, the halo sits exactly where the driver used to have his TV displaying whatever was on the track and his telemetry. Compromise too on the grid, because the halo tends to get in the way of the driver's view of the start lights, so they've had to change them as well. The halo has never been tested in a real-life accident. It remains to be seen what will happen when a car rolls and comes to rest upside down, or if a foreign object hits the halo and is deflected towards the driver's head. But the FIA insist F1 drivers are safer with the halo than without it. The debate over whether reducing motorsport's inherent risk reduces its appeal will continue. But in the meantime, it's not if, but when the halo will be called on to serve its purpose. And as for when you're used to it, well, I'm afraid that's up to you. All I can tell you is that the era of open cockpit Formula One cars is well and truly over.